how do we engage people to represent the places that they live in, the local people, and how do we actually use this data to address development goals and speed that up and scale that kind of thing up. And so I'm going to go into that local example. And the answer that we have has to do with young people and students at universities in particular. A lot of people talk about OpenStreetMap as a platform or as a sort of a database, but we think of it as a community of communities. And the community that we're really interested in is the community of young people and students in universities and their mentors. So YouthMappers has about 5,000 students now. We were started in 2015 on 222 university campuses in 50 countries now. Started at Texas Tech University, West Virginia University, George Washington University, and with the support of the USAID Geo Center. So we are, part of this community and the ecosystem of organizations like Rebecca was talking about. And some of the projects that we do are always purpose-based, whether that's research-based or humanitarian-based. And a lot of this work actually supports the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And I want to give you an example about the goals number 7 and goals number 5, affordable and clean energy and gender equality. And how do we use these tools that you were just hearing about and the data set that you were just hearing about? So this work is centered on Sierra Leone on the coast of West Africa. There's a vast rural landscape in this country. It's connected by many roads, and much of the population may not have access to adequate or sustainable, reliable power. And it's really undetermined exactly how many people and where. And so while the transmission network maps, which connect the cities, might be available, comprehensive distribution network maps, which are at the local level, are really lacking in many places. And especially women and girls can be empowered by access to modern and affordable energy in remote rural communities. They often bear a disproportionate labor burden for the households, and so this can help them alleviate some of their tasks. So our goal here is to map those distribution networks. So I'm going to run through the steps with you really quick, and you'll see a lot of these familiar technologies that we were just talking about. The first step is that augmented feature extraction, augmented mapping. And basically, this step uses the AI-supported digitization of roads and buildings from the satellite imagery to locate those populated settlements and the infrastructure, the RAPID tool in particular. And we manage it on the Teach OSN instance of the Hot Tasking Manager. And that links to the map with AI tools of Facebook and Microsoft that you had just heard about. So basically, the human view on this to say, yes, this is a road, and I know this road, this is my community, what it is where. Some of this can be performed by the entire YouthMappers network as well, not just with local students, local and global, so it's supported by that network. And we actually have a YouthMappers validation team that's led by George Washington University that goes through everything that we do and make sure that it's all looking correct and high quality work. So the next step is once we have these fundamental features, right, we need to know exactly where the actual power distribution is. And that's that bigger picture, right, of the local network, right? So just so you can see, this is what the team there has been able to do just since March for across all the communities of interest here in rural Sierra Leone. A tremendous job in a very short amount of time. Shout out to Jennings Anderson for this visualization. So with those roads and building data, we can capture the street view because now we have the roads view. And our YouthMappers, we have 5 chapters in Sierra Leone. It's led and coordinated by the OSM Sierra Leone community, thanks to Tommy Charles, and especially mappers from Faro Bay College and the University of Makini. They've been riding along with their motorbikes and their bicycles with the cell phone imagery and capturing the street view field capture, local mobile collection along those roadways to support what we can see from the road that you can't necessarily see in the satellite imagery, which in many cases, that would be the utility poles. We need to know where those things are locally. So that's where we take that those street view imagery and we put this into the step of the remote crowdsourced verification, because we have to also look at those images and make sure that the AI pulling the object detection, that's pulling that out from Mapillary, is actually performing, and we can validate that with the human eye. So this is what it looks like. This is off the Mapillary platform. You can see each one of these dots is another image. This is what it looks like, and then we can put it into the object detection, the computer vision technology. They have a semantic segmentation algorithm, and then of course, you can pull out where the trees are, where the houses are, where people, pedestrians are, and then of course utility poles as well. So then that goes into Pick for Review, which is a tool which we can basically validate with remote volunteers, again, anywhere in the world. The youth mappers everywhere are helping to do this, so that we can say that yes, this is a utility pole in this image. So with that kind of information, we can extract all of that data, the buildings, the roads, the utility points, and define the topology of the distribution network. It's really important to kind of see that big picture. We do have some drone imagery to help validate some of that. And once that is put into place, we can model the townships and the distribution grid locally. So those models will inform an off-grid feasibility, a microgrid feasibility study that is conducted by ASU's Laboratory for Energy and Power Solutions. So that can help speed up very quickly. They tell me 90% faster in this design and planning stage to try to understand how that microgrid can be put in place. And the microgrids can be used to augment the power systems or for renewable energy like solar PV and wind. So that gets taken then, of course, into the final step where all of those inputs can be put back into QGIS, to some of the Xendi, the OpenDSS, and some of the other tools that the engineers use, so that they can kind of create that innovation about where to improve the power transmission, where people might not be having electricity. We have all sorts of different directions for the research that we want to take this in, and shout out to Nate Johnson and Elena van Hove, who is our team there at ASU. So back to my question, how can we engage people to represent the places they live in? How can we address these development goals? I really think investing in the young people, the students in our communities, investing in the infrastructure that is the universities everywhere, and the Youth Mappers Network as sort of that social and professional network where we connect students up to the private sector, to the humanitarian sector, and they really have a lot to offer. I want to say that we're trying to find ways to make sure they're not just data producers, but they're also users in their theses and dissertations. We have fellowships for them. We have virtual internships. We have all sorts of interesting opportunities for them, because it's really important that we don't just build the maps, but we build mappers.
Patricia, one action you'd like participants to take away from today?
Yeah, I sort of building on what Harsh and Subbu have said, put people at the center, and please engage your students and your young people. I think it's just an incredible way to make sure that this community is inclusive. Actually, Youth Mappers is about 40% women, and this is unheard of in many of the technical sectors. And so it's one way to make the map better. It's better quality. And this is the future. Engage the young people and make them at the center of this, not just as data, as data producers, but they are innovators and leaders.